Hi and welcome to today's video. This class is going to be for beginners who want to learn how to hit the forehand. I will break down the forehand step by step, all the technical fundamentals, and for every fundamental I will have a tennis drill that you can do on court. If you're new to this channel, my name is Patrik Broddfelt, a tennis coach from Norway. So let's get started with the first exercise. You get a racket on the ball and you just bounce it into the ground like this. Warming up the wrist, the hand. And it also helps you to relax the hand. If you're too stiff, you won't be able to do it. So you need to be relaxed and letting the racket, just the gravity working with the racket. And making contact at waist height. If you're doing it up here, it will be very difficult. So bounce it at waist height like this. The nice thing about that as well is that you will have a correct forehand grip. So what is the correct forehand grip? Well, I like to teach one or two grips, the Eastern forehand or the semi-Western forehand. The Eastern forehand, you just grab a racket like this, take your hand way down. Now I have the Eastern forehand. The semi-Western, you place the racket on the ground, pick it up, and now you will have a semi-Western grip. Usually I don't show the grip to my students, I just let them play. So with me today I have David, one of the coaches at the Bergens Tennis Club, and we're going to show you the first exercise.
I forgot to mention two important things. One, you should stand sideways when you make contact at the ball. And the second thing, if you look at my back foot, I'm showing the whole foot sole to the back fence. That means I got the weight transfer correctly. So make sure you're standing sideways and that you have transferred your weight correctly when you're making contact at the ball.
So what you want to do is hit inside the yellow lines and just working on the contact point. The most important thing in tennis, I believe, is to make contact in front of you. Okay? If you have a good contact point, most likely you will have a good forehand as well. So in front of you like this. A common mistake I see beginners do on this first exercise is hitting like this. So you need to make sure the racket is in level like this, not pointing down the racket head. Okay, so in front of the front foot, and we just tap the ball over like this, controlling the ball. So that's the first exercise. If you feel the racket's too heavy, you can grip up a little bit, that's okay. As long as you make sure you have a correct grip. What I don't like to see is this. I see a lot of beginners holding this. That's not a forehand grip. So make sure your finger is not in between here. Also, make sure your thumb is not pointing like this. It has to be around the racket like that. Another common mistake I see is having the index finger like this. It has to be around the racket. So make sure you're gripping your racket the correct way, around the racket like this. No fingers like this, because what will happen then is you will hit with your wrist like this. Yeah, if you're playing badminton, squash, you want to have more of this. But in tennis, you have to be more fixed and the racket's going this way up. Okay, so the second exercise is to dampen the ball and then tap it over. Okay, so now you work on a contact point as well, because you have to make the dampening in front of you and then hit. It's a really good exercise to do. So the third exercise we're doing, we're stepping back to the service line. And what we work on now is taking the racket a little bit further back, not all the way back, and making contact at the same place as we practiced and follow through a little bit. Racket a little bit more back now, contact in front of you, the most important thing on a great forehand, and follow through a little bit. So you're going from here to here. Make sure fingers around your racket. Let me show you next exercise. And after doing this exercise for 10 minutes, I usually let my students play a tiebreaker, first to 7 points, hitting inside the service box. So that means you have to hit inside the service line, mid-line, and the singles line out there. And then you play points. Afterwards, I like to show the whole swing and work on that for 10 minutes. And in the next lesson, I do the same progressions, but a little bit faster, and then working on the full swing. So, how should the full swing look like? Well, so the first thing will happen is you have to make a uniturn. So you're turning your right foot so it's with the baseline, and then rotating, turning your shoulders, stepping in, take a couple of steps, and then you let go. Your racket has to stay on your right side of your body. Don't take a racket behind you. So a lot of people want to hit harder, and they think they have to make a bigger swing. Yes, you might hit harder, but you also will have more problems making contact with the ball and keep it inside the court. So make sure your racket stays at the same side as your chest, and then racket goes down to waist level, and then you start rotating down here and into the contact point and follow through. So I show it from the side. Starting position, uniturn, taking your racket back here somewhere, so your left arm is to your right shoulder. You let go, stepping in, and start your ground stroke from the ground up. Rotate into the contact point. Follow through, making sure the strings pointing towards the net and over the shoulder. Make sure as a beginner that you catch your racket. So when you follow through here, catch your racket. So you're having control of the body. So this next drill is going to be that you're self-feeding a tennis ball to your partner to the other side. I want it to be as perfect as possible. And this is a perfect way to practice on your technique before you start rallying from behind the baseline. So you will start somewhere around the baseline. And remember, you have a ready position. You have a uniturn. Let go, step forward, release the ball, and hit. Starting position, you have a uniturn. Make sure your racket stays on the same side of the chest. Release the ball and hit. Make sure you're not bouncing the ball, because look at this, it will bounce too high. So you just want to release your fingers, and then it will be a perfect bounce of the ball. You have a starting position, you have a uniturn, step forward, release and hit. Practice on that for 5-10 minutes, and then you can start rallying. So now I will show you me and David hitting. The ball we're using is a green ball. It's a little bit softer than a regular ball. The reason why is because it bounces not as fast, so we will have better time to prepare our shots. Don't start with a regular yellow ball because it bounces too fast and you will have problem with the time to make a perfect swing. So slow down the game with having a softer ball in the beginning.